there, and welcome to the Email Marketing Masterclass. My name is Jamie with Yellow Barn Media, and I am so glad you joined me today. My goal with this presentation is to help you grow your business with email marketing. So we are going to jump right in. So let's first answer the question of why email anyways. Email is so important in business, and so many people, including myself from time to time, are not consistent with email. And maybe we're like, well, I get all these emails all the time, but let me show you some of these stats. And just so you know, as you're watching this, you will get a follow-up email with these slides. So you don't have to write feverishly if you're just listening in the car or you're watching this. I will send this to you so you have it. So I'm just going to briefly go over these slides and some of these stats. At the time of recording this video, it is spring 2020, and these stats are fresh as of today. So as of right now, email marketing is 40 times more effective at acquiring new customers than Facebook or Twitter. Who knew? Email is so powerful. And as I go through this presentation, you'll probably get the feeling that I am a little bit of a marketing nerd and I love email, and that is true. 99% of consumers check their email daily. 99% of us, 99%. Email marketing for a business owner has a return on investment of over 3,800%. Now, that's huge. That is humongous. So the time and the effort that you put into nurturing your audience and communicating your message, you have a huge ROI. 59% of marketers say email is their biggest source of ROI when they look at it over a scope of time in your business. They can see the return on investment with email. 90% of email gets delivered to the intended recipient's box, whereas most of you know, if you have Facebook, and you're posting on your business page, you know that 1 to 2% of your Facebook fans actually see your posts in their newsfeed. So 90% of your emails are going to get delivered. Open rate is the highest when companies send about 2 emails a month, and we'll talk a little bit about that as well later in the presentation. And then let's see, this blows my mind. 73% of millennials prefer email as communication for businesses as compared to social media and other things like that. And then this last one is the powerhouse reason why you need to be doing email. More than 50% of other respondents check their email more than 10 times a day. So the stat we looked at above, 99% of consumers are checking their email every day, but more than half of those are checking their email 10 times a day. 10. I just think that's crazy. And it is by far their preferred way to get updates from brands. And I don't know if you're anything like me, but I like Facebook ads and all the things. We're not going to get into that today, but email is so powerful. So I hope you're excited about jumping in and finding some ways that you can learn more about email. You can grow your list, and we're going to jump right in. I do want to introduce myself officially for those of you that don't know me. I know some of you watching this, you might already know me, but for those of you that don't, this is just a little about me so you understand who's teaching this course and a little bit about my background so you can understand that I am a professional, and I've been doing this a long time, and I love it. I am a happy wife. I live in Michigan. My husband and I adopted our son through foster care. We're currently a licensed foster care family, so that is just really amazing. And we're super blessed to have our little boy, Edison. I'm a lifetime horse lover and animal enthusiast. My company, Yellow Barn Media, services the equine industry, which is the horse industry. I work with other businesses as well, but the horse industry is near and dear to my heart. I am definitely a total marketing nerd. I have been doing marketing over 15 years, social media, but email has been a big part of that. I've been a guest lecturer for MSU. I've contributed to a few books that are on Amazon regarding social media strategy and things like that. I have also been a TV co-host for a horse series, probably about 8 or 9 years ago, which was really fun. And if you haven't gotten the vibe yet, I'm not very shy. So doing TV was really fun. I'm featured in a handful of magazines, a handful of podcasts, things like that. I'm a writer for the National Reining Horse Association magazine, which is a horse. If you're not familiar with horses, it's a horse publication. I've been on LinkedIn for a long time, and I love LinkedIn as well. And most importantly, especially when it comes to marketing, I am a lover of people. I love people. I love teaching marketing. I love business and how consumers can connect with businesses and that kind of thing. So that is just a little bit about me. I am the CEO of my company, Yellow Barn Media. But the reason why I wanted to do this free marketing masterclass, especially on email marketing, is during this time in 2020, when I'm recording this, we're going through a really challenging time in America. And businesses a lot of us are at home and we're like, how do I grow my business? I have time right now. So what can I take and get some free learning and implement into my business? Well, what I'm going to share with you today is going to help grow your business during this time and into eternity, if you will. So how do I start or grow a list? Some people say to me, well, Jamie, I've never done email, or I have a small little list of like 100, but I feel like that's not a very big list. You may come to me and you might be watching this and you're like, Jamie, I have a list of 5,000 or 10,000 or 25,000. But we're going to talk about ways, and hopefully I can give you some super helpful tips and strategies that have worked for me, that have worked for my clients, and maybe just some fresh ideas. I know, being in marketing forever, I love watching free trainings and buying courses and signing up with a business coach and things like that, because it expands my brain to help me understand, I've been doing this, but maybe if I just did a little bit of this, it's something different and it could expand my reach and help me nurture that audience. So you want to start with an email platform. Now, I'm going to speak very basically for a minute. If you are just sending a email, I'm sorry, this is covering up here. There we go. If you are just sending an email from your regular like Gmail or Yahoo or something like that, and you have a list of like, let's say 25 people, and you're doing like a BCC or you're carbon copying like a handful of people on a little email, please don't do that. Please use an email service provider. You can use something like MailChimp, Constant Contact, ActiveCampaign, Aweber. You have to find the platform that works for you, that does what you want it to do. Now, again, there are many people watching this webinar. And again, some of you might be retail. Maybe you are selling, maybe you have something at home that you're making and selling. Maybe you have a huge retail store. Maybe you have a service, or you're service-based. So many of you can be watching this. So I don't know where you are in your journey with business, but I want to tell you the value of having an email service provider is this. You can set up email automations, which that's a whole nother webinar. But for any of you that are familiar with like marketing funnels or automation, email automation, that can save your life in business and simplify things really, really so powerfully. Personalized emails, you can send personalized emails. So it says like, hi, Jamie, welcome to blah, blah, blah. And then you go on with your email. You can customize lists. You can create templates that you can just go in and send even a one-off email if you need to. But most importantly, my friends, you can get reporting. So if you're using an email service provider, like I'm just going to use MailChimp for an example. MailChimp has a free version, and you can use the free version up to, I think it's 2,500 emails. And you can utilize all of the things within that platform where you can upload a list and you can make it, it's very simple. I know sometimes, like if you're watching this and you're like, I've had it on my list. I've had it on my list to start an email list, an email campaign for a long time, Jamie, but I'm not techie. I would have a definite hard time doing it. I want you to challenge yourself, especially in this time. If you have some downtime, this is something you can learn to do. It's not hard. Even if you're not techie, I can help you. There are people that can help you. There are YouTube tutorials. Make it a priority and do it, please. You will be happy that you did. But here's why it's important. If you just send an email like through Gmail and you send it to 20 or 30 people and you're BCCing or carbon copying people, you don't have a really great way to see who opened it, who clicked on what links, who took what actions. Everything we do in marketing, if there's a report, we can pull data off that report to make the next email campaign better and the next one better and the next one better. So the reporting is really important. Also, so how to start or grow a list, that's what we're talking about. You can create what I call a drool-worthy opt-in, and you can pair that with an automated marketing funnel. And again, if you're like, Jamie, I'm not techie, what you just said is scary, don't panic about it. I just want you to understand the things you can do. Some of you that are watching this might be like, oh yes, Jamie, I know exactly what you're talking about. And I've been wanting to start an automated funnel for a long time. but I just haven't done it. So a drool-worthy opt-in, just to rewind a little bit, is you giving someone something for free in exchange for their email. So many of you watching have been onto, let's say you've been, on someone's website and a thing pops up on the screen that says, do you want this opt-in? Do you want this list of 25 ideas? And you're like, sure, I want this. So you give them their email, your email, and then they email you that list. So that is I'm actually moving along here a little bit on my list. So if you go a couple down, that what I just referenced is a pop-up on a website. So how can you grow your list? You can use a pop-up on your website where you are exchanging that drool-worthy opt-in, something that someone really wants. So for example, I am a crazy chicken lady, okay? I absolutely love chickens. I mean, we have horses, but we have a whole hobby farm of little animals. But I love chickens. So for example, I was on a website a couple weeks ago, and we've obviously all been in the house and online a lot more. And I was on a website, and I think it was maybe Backyard Chickens or something like that. And something popped up and it said, do you want a list of 10 creative things you can add to your chicken coop to give your chicken something to do? Yes, of course I want that. Of course you can have my email. And so I exchanged my email for that list. So I hope that makes sense to you. Also, how to start or grow your list. You can do it organically through networking events. You can work with your current customers. You can get emails through your Facebook groups. I'm not going to talk a ton about this, but for example, when you go and join one of my Facebook groups, I ask for your email address as well, just so I can send updates and things like that for the group. So you can grow your list organically that way. I already talked about the pop-up on the website, Facebook and social media. You can easily just create a link. Like, again, if you're using MailChimp, let's say, you can have a link to a certain list, and you can just say, hey, if you'd like to, again, get this opt-in through Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or whatever, click this link. And again, they will exchange their email for your drool-worthy opt-in. Okay, so contests and giveaways. I like Rafflecopter. WooBox, I feel like, is a little bit more complicated. But if you have, so for example, let's say you are on Etsy and you make t-shirts and keychains and decals and stuff like that. You could say, I'm going to give away $100 gift certificate to my store. You can pick whatever you want. Enter to win. I just need your name and your email. So you would exchange, they would join the contest and give you their name and their email. So you can grow your list that way. You can also do a Facebook ads campaign, going back to that drool-worthy opt-in. You can put that out in a Facebook ad and push people to that page where, again, on your website or whatever it is, to say, hey, here's the list of 25 or whatever the thing is, or the giveaway or whatever. But I want to get your name and email, and you can do it through a Facebook ads campaign so that you can push your opt-in to more people. You can add a link to this is one of my favorites. It's easy, it's free, all of the things. Add a link to subscribe to your email list in your regular email signature. So for me, I use Gmail, and mine, it has, an option, gives you all my information, but then it says, if you want to get my list of 25 or marketing updates or whatever, you can click here. So that's in my regular email signature line, which I find to be wonderful too. And then you can promote it in your Facebook call to action button. So again, I'm not going to go into how to do that, but basically there's, on your Facebook cover, you can promote whatever you'd like to promote and say, join my email list and here's what you'll get. Just click here. And then also this is kind of, I say a little old school. If any of you set up at expos, or any kind of like even a farmer's market or something, you can always just do, like, if people want to give you their name and address, like written down name and email address on a little tiny slip of paper. Yes, you have to manually enter those, but they're essentially saying, yes, I want to join your list. And then there are some opportunities for text to enter. And again, I won't go into that at length, but you can always just Google text to enter marketing campaigns. And those typically are not free, but they're, a couple, 20, 30, 40 bucks. Usually they're not very much. And you can have text to enter. So for example, if you're a speaker at an event, you could be on stage talking about something and say, hey, if you like these tips or what I'm talking about, feel free to text this word to this number and you'll be added into my email list. So what I want to say though is this. So many times people will get frustrated and say, well, Jamie, my list has been at this amount for so long. But if you're not actively trying to add to your email list, it's not like if they build it, they will come. If I build it, they will come. It's not like Field of Dreams. What happens is you have to put work into it. And when you do, and when you promote it on Instagram or Facebook, or maybe a Facebook story or an Instagram story, or now one of my favorites is TikTok. There's 100 ways for you to promote your email list. Because if you just say to someone, hey, do you want to be on my email list? I mean, your mom or your cousin might say, well, yes, because they're polite. But most people want a reason. They want to know that they're going to get valuable information from you. So just keep all of that in mind, okay? We're going to keep right on here. Just a moment. Here we go. Okay, so there we go. Okay, this is one of my number one pet peeves. I have a few companies, mind you, that I love. They're companies that are extraordinary. Every month they send an email, and this is what the subject line is. The name of the company, update March 2020. Okay, there is nothing exciting or sexy about that. I tend to open it because I am a loyal, crazy, raving fan. But the majority of people, if they're not, that is the most boring, ridiculous subject line ever. So please, if you're watching this, never do that. Never do the month and the year update and the name of your company. We have to as marketers. And if you don't think of yourself as a marketer and you own a business, please start thinking of yourself as a marketer, okay? So I want to talk to you about these 8 different types of subject lines. I get really excited, so bear with me. So self-interest is one where we're always as marketers needing to appeal to our customer. It needs to be about them. Sending an email is not about making you money. Now, yes, of course, everything we do in marketing is to make ourselves money. But if you go into these emails with a mindset of money, 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 I have to pay my bills, I'm stressed, money, 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 it comes through. So you need to turn that around and think about, where is my customer? Who are they? How can I appeal to them? So these are 8 different ways on these ideas right here. So you can have a self-interest subject line, which is, for an example, convince your boss to send you to TNC. TNC is some kind of seminar, and I got the email. These are all sample subject lines that I receive, that I get all the time, and I save for examples and things like that. So self-interest would be something that's really going to appeal to that person. Like, how can I help you? This is saying, when you open this email, we're going to give you information for you to convince your boss to send you to this event. The second one would be curiosity. For example, this is one that I got, which totally is insane. And I have a better example too with this one. Curiosity is how we got 1,300,000, whatever, earballs in 20 months. Now, this was forever ago. I don't really remember what this was even about. I cannot even remember. But here's the thing. I opened it because you want to know why? I was curious. Let me share a little story really quick about curiosity. I've told this story. If any of you know me or any of you have heard me talk about email before, here's what I want to share with you. This is what's incredibly hilarious. I'm in Target shopping one day, and also I'm reading my text and driving my shopping cart, and I literally stop right in the middle of the aisle. Why, you might ask? This is why. Because the subject line of this email said, IKEA wants you to pee on their newest catalog. What? I'm like, okay, what? So I stop in the middle of Target and I open this email and I start reading, and I'm reading before I'm getting to the point where I'm like, I am so curious because this is so absurd. This is so shocking. Why? It's kind of like, ew, right? It's ew. So anyways, I go through this email and I realize, so I guess the newest thing is IKEA has a page in their catalog that is a pregnancy test that a woman could literally pee on and find the results if she's pregnant or not. Now, you can think about that however you want and have an opinion, and that's fine. But I was like, from a marketing perspective, that was the most brilliant subject line I have ever read, because it's shock and awe and curiosity and like, what in the world? So I've shared that story so many times and people always chuckle, but I'm like, seriously, that is like genius. So the next one would be offer. If you obviously as a business have an offer, you want to showcase what that offer is, because again, if your email list has been following you and you've been nurturing them and you've been doing your job, when you have an offer, and especially, for example, on this one, a $7 offer, they're going to be like, woohoo, I got to open this. Okay, so this was a service-based coach that sent this to me and it said, your perfect product launch for $7. I opened it and I bought it because it was $7. I mean, seriously, it's $7. I spend more at Subway, okay, or Starbucks. So if you have an offer, share an offer. You don't want every email to be an offer, though. You just don't want that. You want to always be thinking of the value added for your client base and your customer base. The next one would be urgency. So again, if you have an open cart, closed cart, if you have a sale that is only taking place for these 3 days, if you have an annual sale, whatever it is, if you are trying to get people to sign a petition for something by this date, urgency plays a part in that. Let us know in the subject line why it's urgent or when it ends, less than 24 hours until XYZ. Black Friday sale ends in 3 hours, that kind of a thing. The next thing I like for a subject line sometimes is as simple as what I call humanity. When you are collecting email addresses, it is wonderful to collect the first name and the email address because, for example, Constant Contact, MailChimp, most of these service providers, if not all of them now, you can put in Dear first name. So it's Dear Sally, okay? So then you go to your subject line and you say, Sally, meet Justin. And I have a friend that I've been following for a long time. I bought into his courses and he's brilliant at what he teaches. And every single time he sends an email that says, Jamie, you've got to see this. I'm like, I do. Because if the email would have been, you've got to see this, I'd be like, whatever. But he attached my name to it. So I felt like it's totally for me. Like it's an email directly to me. Even though I know it's automated, it just makes you feel special. So humanity is another way you can just bring some different subject lines to your campaigns. News, sometimes it's as simple as announcing the second annual Content and Commerce Summit or whatever. Announcing a new employee, announcing whatever you want to announce. Sometimes it's as simple as just sharing news, right? The next thing would be social proof. And I really like these. And as a marketer myself, when fellow coaches and stuff send emails like this, I always open them because I'm curious. For example, I got one that said how Jane got 1,000 email subscribers in 7 days. What? Yes, I want to do that, right? So I opened it and I read it. And now when I open these and I read them, I don't always take advantage of the offer or watch the free training or whatever it is, but I opened the email and I'm taking action and I'm engaging with that person. And then the last one is story. You can tell, again, this is one that I received, a little Facebook tweak that halved my lead cost. Someone shared their story from A to Z, how they, cut those costs in half. I also think, and I've been listening to some audiobooks and things like that, where they're talking about our story. Our stories, your story is your story. It's no one else's story. That is what you have that's unique to you. So I would encourage you to share stories. And again, you can kind of, minimize it down to a quick little sentence for your email subject line. So we're going to talk next about email tips and strategies. So again, this could change. This might not work. Every single strategy or every single tip may not work for you. It's your job, marketing your business, to find out what your people like, what they crave. Start by always turning it around and thinking, how can I bless them? How can I add value to their life? And then, of course, you always want to make offers and things like that. But I just wanted to let you know, every single one of these tips or strategies or the things I'm sharing may not work for you. You've got to find out what works for you. And really quickly, I do want to share this. So I think it's just valuable to share this. When I first started in email marketing, I work for the equine industry. I mentioned that already. And so I work with a lot of horse businesses. I work with a ton of my clients are very small business owners, and they're working a full-time job during the week. And then at nights and on the weekends, they're hustling on their business. And so I Googled, when is the best time to send an email? Okay, that is way general. Okay, your industry and what you do is very specific. But I was like, I have to start somewhere. I Googled it. I started sending my emails like, once a month or twice a month based off of what Google was telling me. And I mean, I was having okay open rates and okay click rates, and I was happy with it because I was just getting people to start engaging. 1 week, I got to the end of my week when I was first starting, and I was like, I am so tired. But I made a commitment to myself that I will send an email out this week. And I was like, I don't even care what all the experts say. I'm just sending it. It was Friday night at like 10 or 11 o'clock. And I sent it. Guess what I learned? By accident. That is the most crucial time that my people are online. They are done with their 9 to 5. They are pumped. They're like, Friday, I'm jumping into my business and I'm working on my side gig and my side hustle. And let me tell you, so now when do I send my emails? Guess what? Friday between 8 and 10, all the time. I can send over the weekends. They do just as well. I can send on Sundays and they do great. Now, some businesses, if you sent on Sundays, they'd be like, that's not going to work. However, you have to find out what works for you. So trial and error, test and measure. Okay, we're going to jump right into the email tips and strategies. If you're using MailChimp, again, I use that as an example, you can create one template that has your bio, your picture, all your contact information, all of the little things you want to have in your email. You can create a template. So when you go in to create a new email, once a month, twice a month, weekly, however long, however many times a month you want to do it, you just pop open the template, make a copy, and fill it in. Okay, we want to make this as simple as possible because, many of you are very, very busy. And this is something that is extremely important for your business. So create a template and use that template every time you do an email. Always, always send at least once a month. I don't care who you are. I don't care what business you're in. If you send a quarterly email, people forget about you. I know there's a lot of nonprofits that are like, well, we don't want to keep asking for money. And okay, there's a million things you could send to them. Like, for example, if you're in the horse industry and it's spring and you don't want to ask for money, but you're a horse nonprofit, you can send an email that says, here are our top 5 tips of how to clean out a water trough, or our top 10 list of barn spring cleaning things that you need to be doing right now. There's 100 things you could send out, a million content ideas. So make sure you're always sending the email once a month. Again, I've already said this a lot in this presentation. Provide insane value. You can always share your products or services. We always want people to know how they can spend money with us, but we don't always want to be in their face like, buy from me, buy from me, buy from me. I have companies that email me 2 or 3 times a week. And now, if that works for your company, do it. But I'm saying as a general rule, people get really like, I don't care for that. Do not email me that many times. Weekly, okay, cool. Do not email me 2 to 5 times a week. Please, please do not do it. That's just my opinion. There's other people that will tell you email your list daily. Okay. Everyone's going to tell you something different. You have to find a sweet spot for you, but at least once a month. Okay. At least once a month. You can utilize the preview text with a subject line. So if you've seen a subject line, so if you're sharing a bunch of value and maybe you're doing, you have your regular subject line, and then when you open an email on your phone, a lot of times there'll be like 2 or 3 lines that tell you what's in the email. That's your preview text. That's just going to give them a little bit deeper dive of what you're sharing when they open that email. Don't pack your email with like 5 to 6 or 10 topics. Like, don't make it 30 pages, 30 scrolls long. Make it quick, actionable content, period. If you want to share a blog, share the first paragraph of your blog and send them to your website. If you want to share some kind of downloadable something, give a little intro and send it. Don't fill it with a bunch of stuff. I would much rather you send an email a week with 1 or 2 things you want to talk about or share than to send one email that's like, you have to keep scrolling and scrolling. I don't like that. And again, you have to find out what works for you in your business. But I would keep it short. I would keep it conversational. A lot of my emails, excuse me, I'm not a Southern girl, but I am. Okay. Any of you that know me know that I love Kentucky. Hence the Kentucky earrings that one of my friends got me. Okay. I love Kentucky. I was born and raised in Michigan. I lived in Kentucky for 6 or 7 months. A long story. We have family there. I have family history there, but I was not raised there. But I love Kentucky. Okay. So I use y'all in a lot of when I type out a blog or I'm doing an email. And some people are like, well, that's not very professional. Okay, that I am my company. This is me. And I know I am very confident because I've been doing this a long time. I know what kind of people follow me. I know my audience. And I know they don't look at me and think, well, that's unprofessional. Look at what you're doing. Now, if you're in insurance or something like that, of course, you have codes that you have to work around. But excuse me, y'all. So you want to keep it short. You want to keep it conversational. You want to keep it real. You want them to be able to hear your brand voice through your emails. Personalize it every time you can. If you can say, dear Jamie, welcome Jamie. Hey, Jamie, it's great to talk to you, comma, and then start out with your email. Use appealing graphics. You don't need to put a lot of graphics. I don't use a lot of graphics because some people's phones don't load them very quickly. And so that's kind of obnoxious. But if you are retail and you sell retail products and you want to fill it with graphics that are clickable links, of course, do that. But just keep in mind that sometimes things don't load super quick. If you've never used Grammarly before, use the Grammarly app, because the one thing, people don't mind if I put y'all in my emails, but when I misspell something, I have a few friends that are like the grammar Nazis, and they'll be like, Jamie, you used the wrong there, or whatever. I just didn't catch it. I proofread all of my stuff, but as you type things out, sometimes we just miss it, right? Which is fine. We're all human. But if you use Grammarly, it's a free app. You can download it on your Google Chrome. It works amazing. And it's perfect. You can proofread your email before you send it. Send the email to yourself when you're all done and test all the links. Make sure that if you have links going to your website, if you have links going to your Facebook page, all the little icons, please make sure they work, because the most frustrating thing is getting an email and being like, ooh, I want to go look at this product. We are very short-sighted people. 100 times I've clicked on something, there's not a link, I'm done. I click out. I don't have time to Google it and go to the website. People just don't. The easier you make it for them to buy from you, the more people are going to buy from you. It's just that simple. So I'm going to jump to the bottom one. Use the reporting to research here we go. What your customers want. Speaking of grammar, what did I do? I left out an R in the word your. But again, human. I clearly didn't use Grammarly on my PowerPoint. So case in point. But anyways, use the reporting to research what your customers want more of. So once you send an email and you look at the reporting, you can see if you had an opportunity for them to click on 4 different products or 4 different blog posts, and 80% of the people clicked on the second one, whatever that topic is or whatever that product is, get smart and say, okay, next month, I'm going to talk more about that product or that service or that type of a blog because my customers like that. So reporting and looking at those statistics are so incredibly important. And then going back up to, speaking of important, to double your open rate. Who doesn't want to double their open rate? Everyone that does email wants to double it and double it and double it. You want more people opening your email if you're doing the hard work of sending an email. How do you do this? After I send an email, I wait about 4 or 5 days. I give people time to open it. Then I can go back and say to my email service provider, I want to resend this same exact email to all of the people that didn't open it, but I want to change the subject line because sometimes our emails are full of juicy goodness, but we frankly didn't do a good job on the subject line. So read over your email again, come up with another creative subject line, and resend it. Almost every single time I do that for myself or my clients, it doubles my open rate. It's genius. And it's very simple, but it's a matter of a lot of us hit the send button and we're like, done, that email's done. I'm never going back to look at it. You need to look at the reporting and you need to resend it. Again, you could resend it a week or 10 or 12 days later, but just resend it. It's going to help you to get higher open rates. Then this is what's important too. So you have these email addresses, you send out these emails, but how do you actually nurture? So when you really look at it, again, those of you that know me know I love animals. So I nurture my animals. I care for and encourage the growth and development of. When you think about it, look at your community. Who do you serve? How can you? A lot of people think in business like it's not about love. It's just like this is business. This is how business is. No, it is your job to nurture and care for and encourage this little baby egg. You know, when you look at these things, business is not hard, but a lot of people don't really care for their customers. They just want money. And I hope if you're watching this, you're not one of those people. I hope you're one of those people that you're like, yes, Jamie, yes, preach about nurturing, because this is what we love and long to do with our emails. So anyway, so how can you better nurture your potential clients? Because the people on your list are potential clients or customers, right? Or we hope. So you can nurture them by, meeting with them in person or networking events. Of course, emails, amazing content. And you want to always remember that as you're nurturing them and you're sending these emails, 80% is about them and 20% is about you, or 80% is about, giving them value added and 20% is about your service or product. Oh my goodness. Can you even believe I'm about to say this? You can call them. You can text them. If you have their information, you can connect with them outside of email as well. You can, of course, offer a free webinar or training, Facebook Live, Q&A. You can offer that to them, offer that in an email, of course. Social media, press releases. You can take surveys. All of the ways, if you do all this research to figure out how you can better serve your customer base as a whole, your email list, your customer base, you're going to come up with all these really cool ways that you're like, I never even thought about this. This is great. Also, one of my personal favorites is many times when I have an opt-in. So if I ask someone for their name and email, I will be as bold, not on all of them, but to ask them for their actual snail mail physical mailing address, because sometimes I like to really go old school and send actual physical mail to people. It's extraordinary, the results that have come from that for my business in making me money by sending a physical card to someone. Gather information about them. Now that we have social media, can you find out about when their birthdays are, anniversaries? Do they have children that are having birthdays? Like if you're connected with some of your potentials, go on there. And like, for example, we are in this very quiet time right now because we're at home working. We don't have a choice to like go out and do all the things that we want to do. So I pulled out for example, let's see, I have them right over here. I pulled out my super cool cards that I got for Christmas. They're physical cards, and I sent them to some actual people. And I've gotten feedback over the last 10 days. People are like, oh my gosh, we are like shut in. And it felt so good to get snail mail from someone. Very unexpected, right? So I kind of like to stalk people online, of course, not in a weird way, but try to find out how can I bless them. And yes, that takes time, but I'm telling you, it helps when you're nurturing potential customers. Communicate. No matter what you do, communicate. Always be open about it. Always just be very open and transparent in all of your communications. And shouldn't be a shocking one that I added to the list. Be a ray of sunshine to them always. There's enough, like again, right now it's spring 2020. So the great apocalypse is happening, okay? COVID-19, whatever. And I don't mean to let me just rewind for a minute. I don't mean any disrespect at all. I'm just saying we've heard a lot about COVID, right? And as it relates to our business. So be a ray of sunshine in this COVID stuff that's going on, and in a year, in 5 years, in 10 years. How can you be a light that's shining to someone? And then also, this is a great quote that I love by Steve Jobs. Get closer than ever to your customers. So close that you tell them what they need before they need it themselves. That is a huge thing. When you come to someone and you basically say to them, you need this. I have been on calls before with people and said to them, okay, you've told me in 20 minutes what your problem is with your business. I will tell you exactly what you need. And I tell them and they're like, you're so right. And I never even knew I could do that. and it might be a marketing tool or something like that. So get so close that you can hear your customers, you can have that transparent conversation and basically bless their socks off and tell them how you can help. So these are some tools and tidbits. I always like to give people in these types of free trainings. I don't want you to be like, oh, I'm just waiting till the end. I'm going to get hooked into some kind of offer, right? I want you to take information and be like, I can run with this stuff. And thank you, Jamie. This is awesome. So some of these I already mentioned, but I just want to give you some tools and tidbits that I always find that are helpful. Email providers, Constant Contact and MailChimp, those are the two that I recommend to get started. I will tell you there's a gajillion out there. There's so many, okay? There's so many. There's ConvertKit, there's ActiveCampaign, there's Aweber, Infusionsoft. If you are not techie and you just need to get started with email marketing, I would tell you to just start with MailChimp. Again, you might hear something from someone else. That's just my recommendation. I feel like it's pretty easy and it's fairly low tech. So make sure you're working with the email provider. I already mentioned to you all to double your open rate, you want to resend your campaign. Some of this we already touched on. Facebook ads. If you're not a professional Facebook ads expert, please do yourself a big, huge service and hire a professional to do them for you. I'm not saying you can't learn them, but I'm saying if you don't have a genuine interest of wanting to be super duper nerdy and want to learn Facebook ads, if it's not your thing, please hire a professional. I've been in marketing for over 15 years. I do not do my ads. Can I? Yes. Do I want to? No, thank you. So I have someone that does my ads. If you need a recommendation, let me know. Social media, make sure this is kind of something I don't even need to say, but I do need to say it because you never know where people are at. Make sure if you have a business, you have a professional page or account, whether it's on Instagram, Facebook, whatever it is. Do not have people. There's still people now where they'll have a business on Facebook and I have to add them as a friend. Okay, that's not right. Make sure you have a social media, all your social media pages are professional business pages. Make sure you're using hashtags on Instagram. This is just a side note. If you're using Instagram, make sure you're using 13 to 30 hashtags. It might seem obnoxious to you, but if you want your Instagram to work, make sure you're using that. I'm not really going to talk about this much. In the right scenario, you can buy targeted lists or cold call. I do not feel like those work that well anymore, but that is on my list of how to grow your business and how to grow your emails. But that's I don't talk about that too much. So these are, let me see if I can just move this for a minute, y'all, so you can see the other side. So these are some books. I have a couple book recommendations. ROI is Return on Influence, not Return on Investment, by Mark Schaefer. If you have followed me for any length of time, he's one of my most favorite authors in the whole entire world. For graphics, when you're creating graphics for your emails, for any of your social media, I prefer Canva. But Canva and PicMonkey are both pretty good, but Canva is by far the best, in my opinion. If you're not a designer, Canva's awesome. If you want to get free stock photos just to get started, I would recommend taking your own. But you can start out with Pixabay. You can get some free stock photos there just to get yourself started. And there's Canva and PicMonkey allow you to, say to them, I want a Facebook post or Instagram or Pinterest, and everything is sized correctly for you. Facebook groups, join them, host them. Okay. Join groups and be active within your niche, within your business, and then host one. If you have, again, I mentioned chickens, there's a lot of farms that are now like, well, I'm just going to start a Facebook page because I have all of this knowledge on this thing. So do that. That's just something that's going to help grow and expand your business. LinkedIn, give recommendations. I have on here Try Duck Soup. I'm not going to talk about that today. You can Google it and peek at it or shoot me an email. I can tell you about it. I already mentioned Grammarly. And Bitly is a link shortener. These are all just tools and tidbits. They don't directly relate to email, but these are all just takeaways for your business. You can take away, look at these, grab them and run. Some you might use, some you might not, and it's okay. Bitly is a link shortener though. If you need to shorten a link, if you have one of those links that's like this long and you want to lengthen it, or shorten it just to this long, Bitly, bit.ly. I mentioned email signatures earlier about making sure, to put in there, hey, join my email list in your actual email signature. WiseStamp is an app that I use. It plugs into Google Chrome very well, and you can have a picture, and it's very professional. It's a professional looking signature. So if you send me an email at jamie@yellowbarnmedia.com, you can see what that looks like, or you can just go to WiseStamp and look at the options they have there. And then I mentioned earlier about how nerdy I am about sending physical cards and making that physical touch, if you will, to someone instead of just an email or a phone call or a text in this day and age. Send Out Cards is an amazing program I've been using for probably 12 out of the 15 years I've been in business now. And it has a monthly subscription and all of that. But literally for me, you can create it. So you go online, you create your own account, you create your card, and you can send brownies with it, gift cards, whatever, but a physical card goes out. You design it online and it goes out physically to the person. It's literally the best follow-up tool that I have. Every time I send a card, I mean, my return on investment on using that program is huge. And then the very last book is called The Thank You Economy by Gary Vaynerchuk. If you're looking, it's an older book, but this book is literally about how to create a thank you economy, how you can consistently just love on your customers and thank them over and over. So my final thoughts, I'm going to move this back up here for y'all. This is a quote I love, and I had to read it like 5 times the first time I read it. You have to sit by the side of a river for a very long time before a roast duck will fly into your mouth. Now, I think that's a hilarious quote, but here is 10 seconds of tough love, okay? Just because you think email marketing is good for you, if you don't do it, it's not going to happen. If you're like, I'm not going to do it, I got to hire someone. Okay. But if you don't make a decision to do it yourself or make a decision to hire someone to do it, it is not going to fly into your mouth and you're not going to have a lovely meal. Okay. And some people are like, well, Jamie, this was such an uplifting webinar and now you're like tough love. But it is truly, this is business. You have to sit by the side of a river for a very long time before a roast duck will fly into your mouth. And I mean a very, very long time, or like never. Okay. So I want to leave you with that. Also, if you enjoyed this free webinar, please do go over to Yellow Barn Media and just leave a quick review. I would greatly appreciate that as well. And then I wanted to also, so I mentioned, and here's the thing, I'm going to leave this slide up for a minute. I'm not going to talk about this for a long time because you and all you know what you need to do for your business. And I am not one of those like hard sell kind of people, but I do want to tell you, email is powerful. Email is fun. When you do it right, it's fun. It's hard work and it's commitment. Your 2 options, as I mentioned, are you are going to do it yourself or you're going to hire it out. That is it. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen otherwise if you don't make a choice, one of those 2 choices. If you say to me, Jamie, I watched this whole webinar, this is awesome, but guess what? I know myself and I'm never going to do this. I'm just not going to do it. It's not my thing. I don't want to learn the tech. Well, you're in the right place because normally my email prices are much, much higher than this, but because so many people are at home right now, I want to give you an opportunity to learn a new skill. 90 days of email marketing at just $97 a month. So for basically under $300 for 90 days, you're going to get an email a month. I'm going to create it for you, create all the content, and basically do the work for you, and you're going to benefit from it. So if this is something you want to do, you will get a follow-up email after this webinar that just says, thank you for attending and that kind of thing. And it will have this link in there. You can write it down right now, or you can wait for the email. But I just want to let you know, this is a rock bottom price because I desperately want to help people. I want you to get started. I want you to see the value of email. So I'm not going to harp on that. I'm just going to tell you, you know what you need. You're going to do it, or you're going to hire someone to do it, or it's not going to happen. So that is the tough love portion of this presentation. And then the last thing is, if you want to get in touch with me, these are all of the ways. I am very transparent. I'm not one of those people that says fill out a form on my website. This is my phone number. So Twitter handle, Voxer. If you don't Voxer, it's a voice app. I highly recommend it. Highly, highly recommend it. You can Voxer me, email me, go on my website. You have 100 ways to get in touch with me. So thank you for attending today. I hope you feel super confident and you took a few notes of the things you want to start on right away with email marketing. And these are all the ways you can connect with me. If you have any questions, if you are confused about anything, please connect with me. I am more than happy to help you. And, if you're like, hey, Jamie, I just really need a business coach. I have packages to do that as well with people. I love helping people build business. So please, let's stay connected. I would love to hear your thoughts on this presentation. And again, answer any questions you might have. So I hope you have a lovely, lovely day. And thanks again for watching.